One of the things that the myth of Gyges sort of insinuates to us, right, is that if, or even the Lord of the Rings, right, is that if you were totally isolated from others, right, you would uncover something about yourself, but you might not like it very much, right? It might be the aspect of yourself that is perhaps least human or least fully realized as human. And that's because your human nature, as opposed to your material nature or your brute nature, or your animal nature, right? Your human nature is relational, right? Involves love relationships. What are you? In part, you are a loving thing. Maybe that's the highest thing that you are. And so when you enter into society and when you have to be nice to people and even do things you don't necessarily want to do because you owe it to people, you have ethical obligations, then you find out other things about yourself, like that you do those things, you feel that ethical obligation, right? And that is also part of you. And so some part of you, even if it's not the whole of you, right, is understood best with reference to other people, with reference to the relationships that you're in, your family, right, your community, even your nation, right, your political allegiances. These things are forms of love relationship at their highest, and they are part of what makes you who you are, to put it as bluntly as possible. Yeah, and so these two visions of the world, right, that are being opposed to one another are the one in which is kind of in some sense, the Freudian psychoanalytic vision, right? The one in which the real you, right, is deeper and deeper inside yourself. Just dig deeper and deeper, scratch off all the dirt of society, societal norms, expectations, gender roles, right? All these things that you now hear so maligned, right? Scratch them away. And somewhere in there's a core of your being that is, you, that is what you are at essence, at base. But the thing about it, as I've said, is that you, right, is like the you and me baby ain't nothing but mammals. Let's just do it like they do on the Discovery Channel, right? It's what Plato depicts as kind of a tangled mass of snakes just like writhing against one another, because it's just a kind of inchoate raw material of a person, right? And that's why I think, nothing against therapy. I think talking to a person in a relational way can be very helpful. But the sort of psychoanalytic turn inward, right, has produced yet more and more introspection, right, and less kind of sanity, which involves the more refined sociological, civilizational part of you, right, the part of you that turns outward, that looks at others, that relates to others, that is in this kind of entanglement relationship where who you are is completed by who I am, and who I am is completed by who you are, right? And that is the body of Christ, right? That is the form of kind of intimate relationship, which doesn't dissolve you into either an atomized being or just a formless collective, but resolves you into a relationship with a whole group of people, and indeed with all humanity, right? Cosmic man, so that you can become more fully yourself in your integration into a whole that is made up of distinct parts. This is the Trinity also, of course, right, is like, it's also how we see things working in the world. It's the tripartite soul, right? It's any good sports team has individuals who have different skills and talents, and yet they kind of bounce off of one another and amplify each other, right? This happens at every level of nature and of psychology.